If you could change one thing in your own life or in general, what might that be, Shelly? I call this the magic wand question. If you were queen of the world for the day, money's no object, eliminate any type of limitation, earthly limitation, let's put it that way.
I would want to have more time to do more things to change the narrative for our human society. I mean, that's a big one, but you do it in little steps.
Yeah.
You always have that in your mind.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. So I want to take a moment. People that know me well, French cufflinks. Cufflinks are my thing. That's my, if they're like, would I get Kirt? Get him a pair of cufflinks. So
now I know.
Yeah, you know. So, but there's really no history. There's nothing. There's no family jeweler or what have you kind of thing. It's just my thing. Why quilts? Where did it connect? Was there a familial history of quilts? How did that come about? We've never really talked about that, I don't believe, and I'm just fascinated by it.
Actually, there are no quilts in my family.
That's why I thought it was going to be your answer.
Actually, I work with my mouth and not with my hands. How did I come to quilts?
Yes, better way to put it.
One night, I was invited by some women whose kids went to my kids' school to meet a fellow, his name is Bruce Mann, who bought quilts in Kentucky and took them to New York and California to sell. This was in the late 70s.
Okay, so no internet, none of that
No
stuff.
internet, none of that stuff. There had just been an article about him in People magazine, and I went to this house this night, and I still see her. It's Sally McDonald, actually.
Okay.
And these quilts were being thrown out by Bruce Mann, not thrown away. I mean,
okay. Yeah, I was going to ask
flung out for us to all look at it. I was absolutely gobstruck.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to buy a number of them, but I didn't want to seem like I was like too
Type A.
hungry. So I went home that night and I said to Kenny that I was going to call Bruce the next day. But in the meantime, I dreamed about that night. I called dancing quilts because those quilts were floating by me all night long. And now, 40 years later, maybe more, I can still reconstitute that night in my head.
Wow.
So the next day, I called Bruce, and Bruce came over. He was, having some, personal issues and stuff, and he brought the quilts, and we all just were fascinated. We had no history at all. And Kenny, having an office where he took care of women, became fascinated as well to purchase some quilts to hang in his offices. So that was really the beginning, women's art for a women's office. And I had no past background at all. We had lived in Philadelphia when he was in residency, and I had gone antiquing and picking around, which I love to do, on Pine Street, and I had saw some quilts, but they didn't register. How foolish was I? I mean, we could have been in Lancaster buying Amish quilts for no money at that point, but I wasn't smart enough for that.
I just knew there was a good backstory there.
There's a backstory.
Probably didn't connect with any of your own history, and then it just kicked in.
No history at all.
Yeah.